Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2.
The Lave Radio Project was our last best hope for news. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long, located in neutral territory. A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads, community members and developers. A shining beacon in space, all alone on a Tuesday night. It was the dawn of the third chapter of Elite. The year's space legs came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Lavian stations. The year is 3307. The name of the place? Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 336 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in this rather packed orange sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Edelweiss, or Ben Moss-Woodward.
Can everybody please remember to lube up? Friction burns can kill.
We also have our Human Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
We have a Staff Liaison, Commander Psychit.
Sure about lubing up? I'm sure there's something in the directive here that says that we can't do that.
You didn't read the small print, obviously. I had to cross it out because
Oh,
Ben puts it
man.
in everyone's contract.
God damn it.
He tries to slip in leading up into everyone's contract.
What you did there, I see it.
I hope you blooming don't see it. It's something you don't want to see. Right. Also, joining this cavalcade of filth, we have Commander Alec Turner, King of the SRV.
Bucky Cab, Governor.
And we also have Commander Blackmaze, who's here to talk about a unique project later in the show.
Alec, move over. You're too close.
Oh, they do like that's what the lube's for, because they're actually just in one seat together. And yes,
Yes, if your seat is slippery, you know why.
Can't we get some of those special Apex seats fitted? The unupholstered ones that just sit in the back.
Yes, please.
Oh, the ones that you actually are stuck in. When you sit down, you're stuck in it for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, that's the
That
one.
Yeah, okay.
golly, a severe numb bum at the end of that trip, wasn't it? Anyway, also we have to thank we have the Chris Mark IV doing tech this evening.
Hiya.
Hello, and of course, I think we'll go around the crew, see what they've been up to for the last week or so, and I think we'll start with Ben this week.
So I've had a really interesting day. It's been my first day in the office for over a year, because we were all basically given orders to clear out our desks. They're rejigging our entire office so that it's all open plan, but safe for COVID or safe for a post-COVID world or something. So,
Haven't they
But
had
it's-
like 12 months to do that?
well, yeah, but we've had 12 months, so why not leave it to the last minute like we do everything else?
If that was me, I'd just go around and throw everyone's stuff in a skip and then go, right, okay. Back.
Well, that's basically, if you don't get your stuff out by the end of this week, they were going to do that.
Well, no, because if you haven't asked for it back for a year, you obviously didn't need it that much.
Oh, I was quite happy though, because I found some cereal which only expired in December, so that'll be fine.
Well, okay. Any game stuff?
Yeah, game stuff. Obviously, I've been playing Odyssey, and I've been playing Sea of Thieves and the new Among Us map with my children.
Oh, right. There's a new Among Us map. Oh dear.
There's a
I'm gonna
new
get
Among Us map.
I'm gonna get nagged then,
Oh
aren't
yeah,
I?
and on Saturday I played Among Us and a bunch of other party games with my flatmates and some of his Overwatch friends. So
Oh,
yes, I was gaming social on Saturday evening.
cool. Very cool. Okay. Commander Shan, how have you been?
Um, it's been quite an interesting week or so, really. Had quite an emotional day on Tuesday, I think it was, um, because now we're actually allowed out of our houses in the UK. My mum and dad came down for the first time in over a year now to see us, and both mini Shans were here, and the Shan-in-law was here as well, so that was our sixth. And yeah, it was really good to see family again after so long away, and for them to come down. They kind of like, yeah, they're quite emotional, really. So yeah, that was quite a good day. Game wise, well, more on that later.
Oh, right. Cool. Who Will's Commander Psychit?
Very, very similar to Shan. On Wednesday, I went and saw my mom and my stepdad for the first time in probably 6 months, something like that. They live an hour's drive away, and it's the first time in six months that we've seen them. We took the dogs out for a run on the beach, and it was really emotional. It was so strange and very emotional. It's a weird old time now. We're getting a little bit more freedom to do stuff. It was also my hubby's birthday at the weekend as well. So we did nothing because we're in the end times. Um, and in game, my new faction has actually been put in the game as of today. So I'm incredibly excited about my new player faction being in the game.
Well, this is your own personal faction.
This is my own faction. This is the new faction that a bunch of us started together. But I got the email today saying it'll be in the game soon. So Kremen and I just flew over to where it is, and it's already bloody there, and I'm so excited.
Congratulations. Yes. We don't have much of a faction running at the moment, do we, guys? Just one system.
Yeah. We have Lave, we want Lave, we don't want anything else. Yeah. Well, if we wanted other things, then it's just we have Lave, and Lave is good enough.
Yes.
We have Lave, you don't. Any questions?
Frankly, I think everyone who supported Lave is in other factions like Psykits, like all the Truckets, like the Paladins Consortium. So, they've all got their own agendas. They just come along and help us as well if we need it.
Excellent.
So Lave faction is like your gran. You go around and you help them out, and then you go off and do something else.
Yeah.
But
But I'd like to think we're more like super gran than just gran.
We just visit them once every 6 months.
Yeah, well, thanks to lockdown, I haven't seen my mum in 18 months, so yay. Right. Alec, it's been a while.
Good evening. It has been a little while. Yeah, I've been doing the same as everybody else, I think, and visiting relatives. We've been delivering our Christmas presents. Actually, we had this great idea at Christmas, which is that we would make up Christmas hampers for everyone, like hand make them, and we would drop them off on Christmas Eve, and then that all got cancelled. So we've had a house full of Christmas hampers.
So just like Ben, all your food was out of date in the hampers.
yeah, it was like mouldy biscuits and and things like handmade Christmas baubles and scarves for the winter. So an entirely inappropriate gift for April, but never mind. People thought it was quite funny. And then in game,
you say that, Alec, but it's been snowing today.
It has, yeah, it has actually. Yeah, it was sunny.
It's Alex's fault. It's Alex's fault. It's been snowing.
Yeah,
I had to cycle home in a blizzard in Manchester today.
Yeah, it was freezing.
It was unbelievable. Not really the best thing to do in cycling shots, I will point out.
But yeah, otherwise, in game, I've been inspired by last week's show. I've been racing the Apex cabs and beating them, which was quite satisfying.
Ooh, faster than an Apex cab.
They're good though. I have to say, they are fast. I mean, I only just managed to beat them.
Yeah. Blackmaze, this is the first time you've been on the show, is this right?
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to say thank you so much for having me, first of all.
Well, welcome into the Sidewinder, and we do apologise for the smell. So, what have you been doing for the last week or so?
Lots. First of all, Odyssey, of course, really enjoying the alpha. Lots of new things to test out. Some panic in regard to the Scarab. I think you guys wanted to talk about that a little later. I've been enjoying VR. I got myself a Reverb G2 very recently, and it is completely a different experience. Very much enjoying that. And be very busy editing for Rebuy Unlimited, which I guess we'll also talk about a little later.
Excellent. Excellent. Right. Well, just quickly what I've been up to. Obviously, Odyssey stuff. We'll go into that later. And I decided to bite the bullet and start playing Cyberpunk 2077 properly now that the patch 1.2's arrived. And I must admit, I'm really enjoying it, which took me by surprise. I didn't expect to. Apart from that, that's been about it, really. So, Shan, what would you
Yeah,
like?
I was about to comment. Isn't it a bit bizarre that we're in the alpha phase for a game that many of us have been waiting years and years and years for, and then we spend our time playing other games?
Well, I have, like I said, as I was going to say, I've actually put 32 hours into into Odyssey's alpha already, and at the moment I'm just getting angry with it. So I've done my bit. I'm taking a step back.
Yeah, I'm about that as well. I've done as much as I feel like I can do in the game, so I'm like, okay, no, we'll wait until the next phase now.
Yeah, which hopefully will be Thursday.
Hopefully.
Right. We'll quickly touch on the development news which has been happening this week. I take it we're not doing anything in game at the moment, or Ben, are you running around?
For FPS, basically, I'm in my own private group, which is open to anyone who wants to join it. And I know Miggles is in here already. And I'm just running around in Odyssey, basically doing stuff.
Fair enough.
Probably dying.
Yeah. Although I must admit, I did actually take part in both the CG and managed to get my power play commander up to her usual level. So I haven't just been playing Odyssey. And
Congratulations.
yeah. So or it's amazing how much time you've got when you can't go outside and it's a bank holiday. Yeah. Anyway, development news for what's been happening this week. Well, first of all, the PC they launched or mentioned what the PC keyboard default layout control would be. Did that come in as one of these hot patches, or basically did they just list the control keys?
They just listed the control keys. I just hey Ben, here's the PC control keys. Because I was also trying to see if there's anything with the default Xbox ones. I couldn't find that, but I found in Frontier's help section of all crazy places, the keybind, a list of keybinds. Because as a keyboard and mouse user, I can never remember the blooming things.
Yeah.
I know I have to press C and then something's V and other things are B, and X may or may not do something. Z, I can't remember what Z does. Maybe Z throws a grenade. I know there isn't a button to heal me.
No, that's one of the radio menus.
Yes, because that's so handy. Anyway, that's moving on. So yeah, we had that.
Psych it.
Yeah, I thought it was just something that you could just log in. If you switched to keyboard and mouse, was it not already there? Were there no keybinds at all?
No key bindings whatsoever when you first log in.
Really?
Yep.
Originally,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I think day one patch we got them, but even then, I didn't know what they were. So I'm like running around trying to shoot things, and I'm like, how the hell do I do this?
Yep.
And then I saw that list. I was like, I can have that up on screen or print that out or whatever. And now I've got a list of my screen bindings, my key bindings. Sorry.
I use that list. I've got because of how my desk is set out, I have when I'm playing Elite now, because I need keyboard and mouse, so I need the mouse space really. I now have like a little mini half keyboard that I use,
Yeah.
and then my other keyboard is elevated. So like I feel like a proper gamer.
You got
But,
one of these, what are they called, TKL keys or whatever they are.
I don't know what the actual terminology for it is.
It's literally
Ben.
only QWERTY, but nothing else.
Yeah, it goes as
Yeah.
far it's QWERT, I believe. QWERT, and then it also has a B on it as well. But anyway, that's by the
Right,
by.
okay.
It was dead cheap. It's a really nice bit of kit, and it fits exactly where I need it to fit, so that I can like have all of my various accoutrements on the desk and still be able to look around with my mouse.
When you get a chance, could you send a link to that? 'Cause that
Of
sounds right
course I
interesting.
can. Of course I can. It's very, very nice. I got it from Amazon for like 20 quid, and it absolutely does the job. It is cracking. But I'm running out of keys already. That's the main problem.
Yeah.
Well, next up after the keybinds, there was a initial feedback response put on the forums by Bruce, mostly to cover a lot of the common complaints that came out, probably by about day 3. This covered the stuff, the Apex Interstellar issues, the dying soon after landing with hostile NPCs and players, and just general other feedback that they wanted to thank the community for supplying. Um, these have been the two big issues with the Odyssey Alpha so far: the long wait times for actually getting to some gameplay, and also some of the gameplay being a little bit harder than people were expecting. Shan,
Yeah, I would just like to. I scanned the thread as well, and my one of my biggest frustrations is uncompletable missions. I mean, the first rule of mission design in a game is you allow the player to complete the mission no matter what.
Hmm.
So things like, yes, they're fixing the power regulators, but things like codes not spawning, all things like that just makes it incredibly frustrating when you say you spend 10-15 minutes getting to a place,
hmm
and then you find said settlement you can't get the key and you have to. I don't know. I just think you should always be able to complete a mission regardless of the scenario, and I really hope they fix that because it will get boring very quickly.
Yeah.
And because it trashes your reputation as well. And yeah, it's just a whole long list of stuff in there, and I don't think I'm saying anything that other people haven't experienced.
Yeah, I mean, we'll
Indeed.
go into that with a lot more detail later. Alec, did you want to say something?
No, I'm just entirely agreeing with what
Oh,
Shan's just said.
all right, fine. Okay, then followed Wednesday with some alpha fixes, where they rebalanced the collection mission rewards based on the feedback, and fixed players not receiving the power regulator with new missions. Yeah, the power regulator was 100,000 credits to start with, and is now dropped in price to 5,000. So no new free suits for you. We covered that last week. As we previously mentioned, Thursday, they're going to be doing a stream about frontline solutions as they're hoping to release stage 2. Just quickly, we're going to touch on this, not for too long, I hope. Stage 2 is going to be basically the big PvP arenas, or the 12 by 12 mixes of AI and human, rather. Psykid, you're the FPS expert.
Hey.
Looking forward to this one.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I just want to dome a nerd. I really do. I just want to shoot someone in the face so bad. It's Oh man, it's going to be totally bringing back all of those Counter-Strike 1.6 days and all of those old feelings, because I feel like the FPS in general has a really old school combat feel to it, rather than I play a lot of Warzone, I play a lot of Call of Duty, and things like that, and it feels more more reminiscent of sort of older, not dated per se, but sort of like CS:GO and those kind of things, rather than more of a modern, a different shooter kind of thing. I'm just I'm just so excited to see what these arenas look like, and hopefully that can also it's also going to be echoed with CQC stuff as well.
Yep.
Um,
Let's hope
but
so.
I'm just so excited to get like a proper versus FPS element in the game, and I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Excellent. How are you finding the FPS at the moment? Because it took me, I think, 40 missions to actually complete one of the massacre ones.
I'm
And
liking the
I was
stealth
so chuffed when
mechanics.
I did, though.
I think like being a little bit more stealthy, um, in in sort of the main game is certainly more beneficial.
Hmm.
Um, and I like the whole being in a team and going and finding someone, and then one of you taking out the shields and then the rest of you going for it. All of that kind of stuff is really fun, and the communication within a team is really good, for just within the game. And when I'm in a team, I find it a hell of a lot easier. But people still die to fires on roofs and stuff like that.
Yes, fire is not friendly. That's
No.
one of the things that they say they're going to change. Blackmaze, what would you like to talk about?
I just wanted to touch on what Sidekit was just saying about what the FPS really feels like. I actually I talked to a few people about what does the FPS gameplay feel like to them in Odyssey, and what stands out most to me actually is that it feels a lot like PlanetSide 2. I don't know who here is familiar with playing PlanetSide 2, but it very much feels to me like playing the was it the medium class or the light class where you also get a jetpack. Like I felt like jumping up on the walls in the new settlements and stuff really felt a lot like PlanetSide.
Unfortunately, PlanetSide 2 is not something I'm familiar with. I mean, personally, I felt it very well. Um, it's a bit. I felt it very closer to the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, but in first person, not in third. Shan.
Yeah, I was wondering. We talked about the FPS combat and how many of us actually, in quotes, do it properly. You take cover behind the obstacles or stuff, and how many of us actually resort to the Spider-Man tactic of bouncing around on rooftops to glitch the AI.
But I've found that you can only do that if there's no stairs on the building. Because one thing that I notice is if you do jump up to the top of a building and there are stairs, they will use those stairs.
Yeah, but you've got them in the pinch point then, haven't you? They can't go anywhere. They're on the stairs.
Maybe I'm too
Don't
busy.
do it, Anakin.
Got the high ground. Yep. Psychic.
It's not to say that's not a legitimate strategy, though. We have the means. We are given the capability of jumping up onto a rooftop. How is that not a legitimate strategy? Yeah, it can be. It can sometimes be a little bit cheesy, but it's as fun as being super stealthy and going around. I just get such a kick out of it. I'm really enjoying the combat.
Excellent. Well, there's going to be more. There'll be more discussion about this when obviously everything drops on Thursday, and you can imagine we're going to be taking it apart the following Tuesday. On Friday, Frontier on Steam had a 80% off publisher sale. So at the moment in time, Elite itself is down to $4.99. Oh, hello. Ben, do you want to take this?
I was trying to take about the FPS thing because there's actually a reason why it's feeling very classic, and that is because Daniel Radcliffe, who did a lot of the FPS mechanics for the game, sent out a tweet on the 3rd, which is 3 days ago, which will be Sunday, saying, on this topic, I imagine a few people would be interested to know that the mouse sensitivity setting is calibrated to match the 0.022 degrees per dot standard used by the Quake source engine derived games. So he sort of goes on and in sort of that thread, he's basically explaining he was really aiming for classic Quake / source engine old school stuff.
Well, that's not really a problem for me as Quake
It's
3
not a problem for a lot of people.
as a Quake 3 rail launcher is always a classic. A gib from long distance using a rail launcher is a moment of beauty, I've always found. Shan would also like to say that this particular Daniel Radcliffe is not related to Harry Potter, wizard, or pilot. Just to make that clear. Yes, the 80% publisher sale is happening on Steam at the moment. Elite is down to $4.99. However, Odyssey still remains at $29.99 and $39.99 respectively. You didn't expect them to be affected by the Steam sale. Also, Tuesday's stream, we had Bruce and we had Arth running through some missions and going through some of the community stuff, which we will probably be touching on ourselves later. So, yeah. Was there anything that you enjoyed in the stream apart from Bruce shooting Arth in the back and then completely and utterly denying it?
I think it's all about the bants, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was that the stream where they managed to set themselves on fire, basically?
Yes, that I must admit
Yes,
that
it's
that
highly
is
amusing.
it is quite funny. I had the same problem around around one of the outposts where the fire suppression unit, the control, is right next to a fire. So no matter what you can do, you can't reach the control panel at
If
all.
you notice, they have actually they fixed that, and there was a way you could jump onto the thing that you put the thing that you put in to repair the power regulator.
Oh
Whatever
no,
it
no,
is.
this wasn't in the power area. This was
Oh, okay,
actually
that
in one
one,
of the
the power
apps.
regulator one, was always killing me.
Yeah,
Can you
but
not release your mag boots and then do it from the ceiling instead?
That would
You
make
should
much
be
more
able to.
sense.
That'd be amazing.
yeah,
It would be.
the funny thing about it, there was a pile of about because I was in open. There's a pile of about 4 bodies all in front of it, and then after I tried, there was 5. So, yeah. Shan,
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was
all
about to
right.
say you should have shot him in the back more often, but anyway.
Also, David Braben himself confirmed that Phase 2 will be coming later in the week, but he didn't actually say when.
Soon.
Soon, yes.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Excellent. Right, so the in-game events. What has been happening this week in the actual game itself? Well, we missed out last week's because basically we were too excited about Odyssey. But just to bring everybody up to date, on the 24th of March, the new federal vice president was selected. On the 25th of March, medicines were deemed to have been delivered successfully to a lot of um, the crippled stations. On the 25th of March, also there was a call out for help for a missing agent for what was it, ACT?
Mhm.
Yep. Um, Jamalza Hazley has now become a federal ambassador on the 26th of March. On the 29th of March, everybody demanded that the Empire solve all their terrorist problems because it's not ours. And Shan,
Yeah, I was. Once again, I'm a little bit disappointed that on the 1st of April, Frontier do not do an in game April Fool's style event. Because most of the games I've played, they always have something on April Fool's Day, not like horrible or mean, but just something silly and funny and just to sort of join in. So I really think they should have done something different and silly. I don't know, like had every single Coriolis station pink or something like that. Just something stupid. And yeah, they missed the trick again.
Alec?
I just wondered, did anyone see? I never quite worked out the origin of it, but I kept seeing this clip of what looked like an official Frontier forum post, basically saying that they weren't doing any more work until Christmas or something to that effect.
Oh, I
Which was an
didn't
April
see
Fool.
that.
Did you not see? But I never quite worked out whether it was actually a forum post, which they subsequently decided maybe they should take down, or
Are
whether
you
some.
sure it was an April Fool's? Sorry.
I certainly hope so. I should have kept it.
And there we have the reason why they don't do April Fool's joke, because the amount of salt
Well,
people
yeah,
who
I
would
was going to
take it
say
for
that as
real.
well.
Yeah, but that's what
Yeah.
April Fools are supposed to do. They're supposed to elicit salt in a fun way, aren't they?
I think we've got enough salt to last us a few years yet. It's like it.
Was it Zach who posted something on Twitter? I think it was on Twitter. He said that we've taken into account that the money is very different between the amount for a Sidewinder and the amount for a suit. So we're going to make currency available to buy with real life cash. We're going to make a new currency available to buy. He posted that on April Fools, and I bloody loved it. The salt.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I wasn't a forum mod on that day. I really was. Shan.
Yeah, well, because our listeners are no doubt going thirsty, they can take a drink. But there's been a couple of instances in Guild Wars. They did some brilliant April Fools. Like the first year they did it, they swapped the gender of the player characters when you entered into a town. So if you entered as a male character, when you reappeared in town, you'd be a female character, and vice versa, and that caused great hilarity. And then there was another year where they did it, and you appeared as a stick man. So basically your wireframe, and it just things like that. I don't know. I really hope Frontier get inventive next year when we can actually walk around. I don't know, call it a Hollow Me glitch or something like that.
Well, carrying on with the news, we have, yeah. Well, let's say we have the Empire demanding to be being commanded by everybody else to solve the terrorist problem. On the 30th of March, the Federal Congress grants emergency surveillance powers. And then on the 31st of March, they announced that someone had found the crash ship of the missing ACT agent. I took part in that. I found it quite quickly. And it had a whole load of logs in it, which has led to the community goal, which started to happen on April the 1st, where the Empire has now a CG has started between the Neo-Marlinist faction and the Empire faction in the Madrid system, not the Spanish one. Let's just point that one out. And yes, and that I think the Marlinists are getting wasted by 5-1 at the moment. I don't think they're popular.
That's because the reward is so much better for the Imperials.
I don't think it's just that.
I don't think
It
either.
is. It is that. I thought is the enzyme missile not sort of unusual and new, or have I just missed out? Are enzyme missiles a thing normally?
Oh no, enzyme missiles are a thing.
Oh, are they? Okay. I thought maybe
Yeah.
it was some funky new thing, with the sort of Thargoid enzymes that the NMLA have been using to attack stations.
No, they're basically corrosive missiles.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
So not very exciting.
no, not
Fair
not
enough.
really. But you can get them elsewhere. But I think the Marlinists are let's say everyone's number one bad guy at the moment. So they haven't done a good job in endearing themselves to
I
anybody.
think they're misrepresented.
Of course you would. We're on about the Marlinist terrorists here, not the Marlinist peaceful
Yeah, I
people
mean
of
them.
the
I
Volga.
mean them. I mean them.
I agree. That would be the obvious plot twist, wouldn't it? And that they turn out to be the underdog good guys. Hard to see at the moment, but you never know.
If they just stuck with the Empire, then there'd be a lot more sympathy. But they decided to spread it out. That I think has caused a lot of people to turn on them, which I think was the intention.
It was when they took out Lave, at that point, I think they lost all credibility.
Yeah, of course.
I made quite a bit of money selling enzyme bombs to them, so I won't have anything about it.
Oh, you admit it was to them. I didn't
There you
realise that
go.
was public
But
knowledge.
I checked my till receipt.
On the 2nd of April, the Galactic Mysteries people looked into generation ships. And of course, the last one we had was the fact that the youngest of Al has now got married, and he got married to his pilot. It's the equivalent of a prince marrying his chauffeur, I think, which all went down very well. Shan?
I was just wondering how many commanders wish they could get married to their in-game NPC pilots. Isn't that I saw a stat somewhere like the majority of NPC pilots are female, apparently?
Are they?
That the ones that people choose, yeah, because you click through and you can sack and sell them, and you can choose your NPC pilot. The majority of them are female, apparently.
Oh, do you mean the fighter pilot?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I do believe, Shan, that you didn't rate the female fighter pilots much on attractiveness, though.
No, well, they always look like a bit like a female Wayne Rooney, but it takes all sorts, I guess.
I only hire pilots who claim to have taken part in buckyball races, irrespective of gender.
Mine get sacked as soon as they go. That's one for me, Commander. When they've actually done sod all, I get it, and I've done all the hard work. And that when someone claim my credit, you're sacked.
Well, we will move on from there. So yet again, it's everybody's favourite time of the show. It's time for the store alert.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Which one will you buy?
Oh, every time we've got to thank Jay and Track from Loose Screws for that one. It's fantastic.
That's
Well,
brilliant.
this week, store alert 115. It was a galvanized Viper, various colors. The Viper Mark III, I should point out. Actually, I was quite impressed with these ones this week. So, does anybody fly a Viper Mark III anymore?
Mm. How could he say such a thing? It's a good racing ship.
that stings. Who doesn't still fly a Viper Mark 3 or 4?
Yeah, it's a very good racing ship.
How fast did you manage to get your Viper then, Black?
You're asking the wrong guy. Not fast enough. Not fast enough. Mine can do about 820, but you can get it as very close to 1,000 on boost. That is.
Dear, I just don't have the time, but it must be fun to canyon running when you've got a ship that fast.
Here's the thing. I have always been 100% a Eagle fanboy, and anybody that told me that they flew a Viper, I would tell them, you don't need a Viper to be fast. But here's the thing. It is true. Coming from a racing standpoint, the Eagle is incredibly nimble. But the Viper, you can engineer to perma boost, meaning that you can boost for as long as you want. And that is really what you need to be fast, because while boosting, you have incredible agility. So I've really warmed up to the Viper, and I actually do think now that it looks better as well than the Eagle.
Well, I'm not sure I'll go that far.
Oh, wow.
Not sure
Now I'm hurting people's feelings.
Yeah. Didn't you guys do an Eagle versus Viper event, and it basically showed, didn't the Viper just win?
Yeah, it was the Quarantine Cup hosted. Forgive me for not remembering his name. At least it was through the Elite Racers. There was the Quarantine Cup, and it was Eagles versus Vipers. And yeah, it really was Vipers won all the way.
Right, well, what we're going to do is we will take a short break, and then we'll come back with our main discussion, which will cover a lot of the issues that we've found with Odyssey so far.
In-system travel? Sometimes it takes so long. I have tools for all kinds of circumstances on my ship. But the one thing I don't have a tool for is uneven tan lines. I just want to look like a million credits. But when you're living for days on a ship with processed and filtered air, it really dries out your skin. I use Better Hope Goldening Tan Cream. It just boosts your confidence. I don't believe that beauty is only skin deep, but now I really do look like a million credits. Even my friends mistook me for a genuine gold skin.
Jameson and James. Upgrades and services for your body.
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
I was overseeing the delivery of some slaves to the starport in Exios, and a cleaning robot had just washed the floor, but not left a warning sign. I had to run after a slave that was escaping, and I slipped and fractured my wrist. I was delayed for 10 whole minutes while the Medicomp repaired the damage. My time is billable. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was on a regular trading run back to Sol, and it was my job to repaint the outside of the ship. I was given the wrong kind of EVA clamps. Nothing bad actually happened, but it did give me a fright. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was checking some robots through customs when I distinctly heard an official call the robots clanks. I was deeply offended, even though I'm not a robot myself. That's their word. You're not allowed to use it. Can I claim for moral outrage?
Yes, you can. At Cowell and McGrath, we are now taking any kind of legal action. No case too small, no justification too frivolous. If you've been lightly inconvenienced, embarrassed, or in any way put out, then someone should be made to give you money. Don't be a stupid clank.
Excuse me?
Cowell and McGrath. Taking on any case. Playing the percentages.
Lave Radio. Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Now, before we hit this in earnest, Shan would like to enlighten us a little.
Yes, I've got a parable to tell you all that illustrates, I think, the next section of
Somehow,
the main
I've got an
discussion.
image of Shan next to an open fire with a book, a smoking jacket, and a pipe.
Well, yes. I mean, the story or the parable goes is that in 2006, Shannon family was very kindly treated to a holiday by the in-laws, and the holiday was to a all expenses paid, all-in holiday to Turkey. And we were really looking forward to it because it was our first ever beach holiday we'd had, and it promised sun of 40 Celsius plus, and it was wonderful. So anyway, the first day after unpacking and stuff, we got out in the sun, and it was glorious hot. And the pool was glistening blue, and drinks were wonderful, and we were really looking forward to getting in, diving into the pool after a hot few hours in the sun. And I reached the edge of the pool and was about to dive in when at the bottom of the pool, someone had done 3 tremendous turds in the bottom of the pool. And it didn't spoil the holiday, but I didn't want to get in the pool until they'd cleaned the pool out and got rid of the turds. And that is the parable, I think, that relates to our next discussion.
On to the
Oh,
turds.
lovely. Lovely. Right. On that note, someone better get the flash detergent right now. Overall, let's see. So, who would like to start with the outposts and internal consistency that you seem to be having a problem with?
It's a shame Suv isn't here, isn't it? Really, because this is his baby. But
It is his baby, isn't it? I mean, the main issue here is the zero G environments in some outposts and on some planets, because some of the planets are 0.1 or 0.05 G, and I think it is a case where the art team they haven't implemented the zero G properly, because they've got open top glasses and there's actually still rubbish on the floor and things like that, which I do believe other podcasts were laughing, saying that even the rubbish is obviously magnetized. Your packages come in magnetic form, which means they stick to the table. But yeah, those that tuned in last week heard Sue's epic rant about the fact that the outposts were not consistent to what's been promised in the past. Shan, do you want to take anything on this?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is being quite rightly said about the stupidity of being able to run in mag boots. You know, and this whole I don't get me started. I want to save my rants for later, but I just think for a game that prides itself on accuracy and being meant to have accuracy and consistency, this needs fixing. It's just
Yeah. Alec.
I'm just going to second that. Really, I mean, it is a bad one. We as a community have been talking about zero G for like years almost. So it's not as if there's any way in which Frontier can claim, or we just didn't think of it. The idea that that those outposts are zero G. As I think Suv mentioned, it even emphasizes it by saying mag boots engaged.
Yeah.
So to then just to make zero nod to it in the art design is well, obviously they knew exactly what they were doing. There's no sort of pleading ignorance on this. Frontier obviously just decided, let's just not bother. We haven't got time or whatever to do it. It's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean, on the outposts, that you not only do you hear that mag boots have been engaged when you leave the shuttle, all the way through the outposts, you will see little signs saying this is a mag boot area. Please make sure your mag boots are engaged. Blackmaze.
So I just want to ask as well, right? That there is a point of gameplay we got to consider, right? I get it. I do get it. And I wanted to ask, because I'm not sure. Is it not the same as on the Scarab, where the jetpack is partially responsible for pushing you down toward the surface and thus allowing you to run a little faster because of like added grip in that way?
No.
I mean, that would be fine. That's the sort of second issue, I suppose, about what the walking's like, isn't it? But the basic thing about the art design, that there's a bar with glasses on the countertop, and I think that's kind of the first issue here, really, isn't it? That the mention of mag boots says we acknowledge that this is a zero G area, but the art style doesn't acknowledge it. So there's a massive clash.
Sorry to interrupt you, but of course the station is spinning, right? So there will be some gravity already.
No,
No,
these are the little shoebox outposts.
Excuse me. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the actual stations themselves where the bar or the area is supposed to be, that's supposed to be in 0.1 G, which is kind of acceptable. But yeah, Shan.
Yeah, on that, I mean the thrusters keeping the SRV on the ground. That is a perfect example of what we talked about. But I
Yeah.
don't want to see thrusters on my commander character. I'm a spaceship commander, not Inspector Smeg Gadget.
I mean, to me, I think that just updating the art assets for the low gravity environment would probably be enough to take the sting out of this one. Don't you guys think?
I think so personally. Yeah, it just rather rubs it in your face that it's wrong at the moment, and I don't know that you'd have to go. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to go too far. Just a little nod to acknowledge it and say, yeah, we. You could even make it humorous. And I don't know. You could you could have it so that every sort of pizza box that's lying on the floor has got a big staple through the middle of it or something.
Ben.
Tippy cups.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do sippy cups and everything like that, but I think I actually thought, though I've gone off and checked and we don't, that our flight suits did have thrusters in them. But I actually think it would make a heck of a lot of sense for our flight suits, like the proper flight suits, should have some kind of EVA maneuvering thrusters built into them for an emergency situation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
I'm just talking sort of law terms here rather than game things.
Well, judging by the fact that there are some commanders who are able to sit down, well, NPCs rather, are able to sit down in zero-G environments, that means they've got magnets on their bum.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, there's too many things I would like to see happen to the art assets, and frankly to the player models, because you're not going to be standing there with your arms leant against a table in zero G. You'll just be you do that, you'll be pushing off into you do that, and next thing you know, you're going to be up in the sky.
Mag boots solve everything. Blackmaze.
I personally don't. I'm in the camp of that. I don't care enough about the assets not making sense in zero G. I would argue it would need a lot of extra assets, and if we're going to ask Frontier to spend time on these extra assets, I would much rather that they give me a physical universal cartographics, passenger lounge, authority contacts office. I'd much rather see that than making an added zero G asset.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it to tell you this, I can understand why people are getting a bit annoyed, but is it really game breaking?
No.
I'm surprised rather than game breaking.
I'm surprised that they're nitpicky.
Then again, some people might be surprised at certain commanders, not to look at any commanders in the face here, who get a bit upset about, I don't know, SRVs having magic wheels.
That's different.
Okay, we'll move on to the next point. Now, I'm not familiar with this one, so hopefully someone will be able to fill me in. Ambulatory excuses for FPS players.
The TLDR version of this, as I recall, is why the heck can I run around like I'm on 1G world when I'm on a 0.0001G world? So it's very similar in some respects to the outpost thing, except it's why is FPS combat all as if we're running around in 1G?
I didn't really notice that. Are you saying that it should be that they haven't modeled the?
You think about how you run. If you watch how people run on the moon, they don't. Now, okay, I know a large part of the issues with the way that the astronauts on the moon walked was because their suits were so stiff and awkward to walk in, and obviously our flight suits aren't going to be like that. But you still ain't going to be running along at sort of however much, and the only thing that's really modelled is when you jump, you go a little bit higher or lower depending on how things are.
Hmm.
I think Blackmaze, were you gonna, or was it Psychic who's gonna come in there?
Psy first.
Psychic?
My little FPS heart is very much of an opinion that it's great. The movement, I'm very happy with the movement. I think asking for ambulatory movement is a little much, and I must admit that the poster lost me when she commented, "Yes, I am rolling my eyes in disdain at the violence of men." I was like, I'm sorry.
Shut up, you need this plasma burst.
I'm sorry. You've lost me there. You've lost me there, love. It's they're working very well at appealing to a larger this larger audience that are going to be it's in their best interest to appeal to an FPS market, because FPS games are some of the more popular games on the market for sure. But grumble.
Yeah,
I think I'll leave it at that.
so basically, you're effectively happy with the FPS as it is at the moment, Psychic. So
More or less. I wouldn't be averse to having the ability to lean. I'd have to rebind a few keys, but I wouldn't necessarily be averse to just being able to lean around a corner. That'd be really nice. But
what about going prone?
and
Because that's been asked for as well.
I don't use it in games where I have the availability to use it, and if I use it, I do it by accident.
Right.
So unless it's very unless I'm going super stealthy, but then being prone really hampers how much you can move around as well. I'd much prefer like the ability to lean, yes, definitely. Lying down, not so much. Crouching's
But that's the
fine.
trade-off, though, isn't it? That's the tactical trade-off. You're prone. The one side is you're harder to hit, and the downside is you can't move, so people can get you easier. So that's
Yeah,
kind
one
of the
grenade.
balance, isn't
That's
it?
it, really, isn't it? Blackmaze.
I just wanted to add again, first of all, that I concur with what Psykid is saying, and then also, if it isn't yet the case that the backpack is also responsible for pushing you down, I think it should, just from like a realistic or lore sort of perspective. They do it with the Scarab, you know, the lower the gravity on the planet, the harder the wheel thrusters push you down to give you that similar sort of level of traction / gravity. And I think from that point of view, it's okay. And I think, yeah, people need to consider gameplay, right? You gotta be able to run.
Well,
What's the word that they do with player agency, isn't it? Player agency. You've got to consider that in the grand scheme of things when people are completing missions. And I know at the moment that long distances on Apex aren't necessarily great for player agency, but it's you've got to weigh up a gameplay aspect over, yes, it at its heart it is a simulation, but you still want people to play it. Sorry for jumping in there, Shan.
I was about to say, if you want your backpack to sort of have thrusters on it, I want the ability to Boba Fett people.
Hell yeah.
What you mean, sort of grab them and then jetpack up?
Accidentally set it off.
Yeah, so sneak up behind Colin or Ben and sort of yank his chain and watch him zoom around like a deflating balloon.
Oh, that kind of Boba
Yes,
Fett
I want that
issue.
too now.
Yes, what like with the Charger overload the jetpack so they go flying up even higher than they should do. Yeah, I mean the FPS. I think, to tell you the truth, that's been one of the when you actually get a good chance against the NPCs. I've found it to be very engaging. So, I don't know. I don't think that it's a valid complaint. I mean, that could be just me. I mean, I've been told I don't complain enough. Alec.
Yeah, just one quick comment on the ambulatory issue. What I, in my wildest dreams, hoped for from Odyssey on the sort of low G issue side of things was, has anyone seen that scene in John Carpenter of Mars where he learns to walk and kind of starts to get this amazing bounding kind of gait where he's taking these mighty bounds and sort of covering hundreds and hundreds of meters in single bounds.
Mm.
That was what I had in mind when I was humorously saying it might be fun to do a planetary circumnavigation on foot.
Alec, what would you call fliving if it was with feet?
Yeah, this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you haven't seen John Carpenter Mars, it's worth a watch. It's quite an interesting film.
So
But there is
I
a
challenge you
fantastic
to
scene.
I challenge you to come up with a name for that.
Yeah, okay, I'll work on it. Come
So
back
the,
to me
main, the
later.
main upshot of this is you want to find an asteroid small enough so that it basically you achieve orbit by one jump. And then
Well,
you can
yeah, I would like that bounding gate. I think if you could combine that bounding gate with a bit of tactical jetpack use, I think you could get some quite interesting ambulation on planets. But as it is, we're sort of stuck with this running thing, which hey ho, but it works for FPS, so I do see that.
Shan.
Well, I was thinking about the balance of gameplay versus realism in this, and the flight assist off mechanic springs to mind, because the flight assist off mechanic is sufficiently close to 0G, but with a few constraints to it, so you really don't mind. How we've got it at the moment is it's no relation to what reality would be like. It's completely gameplay above all else. But there has to be a balance that they could have maybe reached where, like the flight assist off mechanics, it played enough to the overall field of fighting in low gravity, but there were constraints to stop it being purely fighting in low gravity.
Are you
If you see what
saying?
I mean.
Are you saying you want a walk assist off option?
Well, no, just in general, but I just don't having it play like an FPS in 1G is just not. Yeah, there's a balance somewhere between realism, which wouldn't have a speed limit in space. It would be completely Newtonian, etc., and making it fun. And I just think they've gone the other way, and they've actually reduced your tactical play by having you rooted on the ground and acting as if you're in 1G all the time.
Well, yes. I think that one's going to divide people. I think people like Psychic love it the way it is. Yet, okay, Blackmaze, one more on leaping.
So I agree on the fact that we do get limited on the tactical side. That is so true. And there's actually I reported a bug, but it's not really a bug. It might be. Here's the thing: if you're sprinting in the game currently, you're sprinting and you're on a low G and you jump into the air, you use all of your backpack, so you get lots of air time. If you actually release the sprint key or you turn around, you actually lose momentum while in the air, and then you cannot regain that sprinting momentum. And that's silly. I would very much appreciate if I can continue the momentum I have, regardless of whether I'm strafing in the air or in reverse. That I find really sad.
I must admit, we have to give thanks to the chat room, especially Osashis and Okium for the words flaking or flunning, which is walk assist off. You can always count in the chat room to come up with things. Right. We shall move on, and obviously now this is a big one for certain people on the show tonight. Apparently, they've changed the Scarab SRV's handling, and not for the better. Alex, do you want to take this?
I'm absolutely fine with it, actually.
Alec.
No, so I should hand over to Blackmaze in a minute because actually he posted the forum thread, and in fact, did you even find it? I heard about it, and I must say it ruined not only my day, it almost ruined Elite. I mean, I was close to posting my rage quit post on the forum actually.
Alec, you saw my frustration.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if Psychic will remember this, but when I was on Flight Assist, the wonderful Flight
I
Assist
remember
podcast.
every single episode. I don't know what you're talking about.
Excellent. So you asked me my one hope for Odyssey beyond what we knew. Do you remember what I said? My one
No,
hope
not a clue.
my one hope for Odyssey was that they don't break anything like the
I
handling of
do
the
remember
SRV.
that. Oh no!
That was all I wanted. I didn't care what they did, as long as they didn't break anything that I already
I
loved.
remember
So,
you saying that. Oh no! Oh, Alec,
so
I'm so sorry.
yeah. So when this happened, I was So here's the thing, and I'll hand over to Blackmaze to describe maybe the actual issues with it. But I was I've not been enjoying Odyssey that much anyway, and when I heard this, I was really really gutted, and I was seriously thinking, this might be the end of my love affair with this game. So actually, when I finally got a chance to try it, I was at work at the time, so I had to wait quite a while. When I actually got a chance to try it, it wasn't as horrendous as I'd
Mute him.
It's not good, but I did think, well, I can still. Once you're in the air, when you're doing the long distance stuff and you're flying, it's not bad, but it is dramatically different. Why don't I hand over to Blackmaze? You describe
Yes,
the ways in
because
which it's different. It is dramatically different.
I haven't
and,
managed to catch up to know what the problem is yet.
And I will just say, so Blackmaze started this forum thread. There's a lot of posts on it now, and I would say about 90% are in support of the general philosophy is, if it ain't bust, don't fix it. Why have you changed it? It was perfectly good the way it was. A lot of people acknowledging that the SRV is difficult to drive initially, that people often complain about spinning out. But even a lot of those people came in that forum thread and said, although it's difficult, I wouldn't want them to change it. Certainly not the way they have, because it does feel a little bit like easy mode. Why don't you go ahead, Blackmaze, and describe some of the fundamental differences?
Off you go, Black. Explain to me what's wrong with it.
First, I want two things I should say before I go into the details. First of all, we do not know for certain that the Scarab has been ruined, right? We have been taking control of the Scarab in the Odyssey Alpha through the means of going into training environments. And a big part of me says we weren't supposed to have access to that. It's an oversight that we were able to test vehicles such as Scarab and Ship in that environment before they were ready. So that, in combination with Arthur going on stream telling us that the feedback is heard, they know that people don't want the Scarab to change, and thus they need time to handle it internally and get back to us. So that's all great stuff. Then I wanted to add,
Is it the challenge scenarios SRV practice? Is that where you do it? Right,
it's the little challenge scenario. I think it's called the SRV challenge scenario, where you just have to drive.
I'll jump in there just now then to show people.
Yeah.
So the Scarab SRV, right? My experience with the Scarab when it first came out is, wow, cool new vehicle. It's quite hard to drive, spins out easily, especially on low gravity. Is this realistic? Why can't I control it? Those sort of frustrations, the ones that everybody has. Then you spend more time with it. You realize, wow, it does make sense. There's 8 wheels on the thing. The thing has a lot of torque on each wheel. It has steering on the front, steering on the rear. If you touch with only one of those wheels on landing, of course you're going to get spun out. These things end up making sense. Then I meet all these people on Discord, the elite racers, the buckyball racers, who are doing things with the Scarab that I never imagined were possible. Incredibly impressive. This thing tops out 38 meters per second usually, which is, close to 90 miles per second, I guess, per hour. It's incredibly fast. But they're going 200 meters per second across the terrain, doing these rock skippings that, like how a rock skips over water. That's what they're doing over the terrain with the Scarab, and it's absolutely amazing. Turns out there's this massive community of people who love this Scarab because it is so intricate and so easy to drive, but so hard to master. And I now would consider myself among them. I love the Scarab, and I really look up to the people that really drive this thing to the limit. And I aim to try and be as good, but I don't get enough time in the Scarab. So then we go into Odyssey, and everything is different. So what is different? What isn't different? Flying isn't different. Flying in the air hasn't changed. If you're in the air, the thrusters still do the same thing. Rotating around your own axis is the same. Nothing has changed there. The boost capacitor, all that. The difference right now is in the engine. The Scarab is incredibly fast. If you push down the accelerator, you accelerate like you're looking at a miniature remote control car driving with its rubber little wheels on a 1G planet on really sticky tarmac. You can go forward, you can go backwards, you can go, again, 90 mile an hour, make a right turn to the right 90 degree, and you won't lose traction. It's driving in absolute arcadey easy mode, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. Mind you, the training scenario takes place on a 0.1G planet. There is almost no gravity there. You should skid out, especially when you're trying to apply full power while making a turn. It's all kinds of wrong. You can actually people have done this, you can put a anaconda upright with its nose pointing at the sky so it becomes a tower. You can drive up to the side and just stick yourself to the side of it like you're Spider-Man. It's wrong. I'm pretty convinced this is not going to happen.
Okay. Just my quick question, and then I'll bring in Psychic. This happens regardless whether you've got drive assist on or off.
Yes.
Right. That's what I wanted to know. Psychic.
Is this scenario available in the main game as well? Can you make direct comparisons between the two?
Yes.
Okay. And the SRV, I'm assuming then that the SRV in the main game drives just like in this training scenario, it drives exactly like it does in the main game.
Yeah,
if you're talking about the Odyssey Alpha gameplay, then no, we cannot.
I think what Psychic's saying is you can get at the same
can you get to this
SRV
exactly
scenario
same
in
scenario?
Horizons. So you can launch Horizons, you can get into the SRV scenario, you can drive around in it, and then you can launch Odyssey and do exactly the same scenario.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And actually, what I did is I was trying to get my point across to people, and especially when you come to the forum, it's good to come with some evidence. So what I did is I made a video of exactly a direct comparison of the two. I would do an acceleration in Horizons, then I would do an acceleration in Odyssey. I would do a 90-degree turn in Horizons, and I would do a 90-degree turn in Odyssey. And when you see the difference, it's night and day. And then there's a few people who obviously don't have a lot of experience with the Scarab who will say like, I don't really see that big of a difference. But you ask people that spend, I'll quote Alec. He's got, what is it? What did you say on the forum, Alec? You have light seconds.
A quarter of a light second now.
Exactly. When you have people like Alec who have so many miles in the Scarab, you will notice the difference.
Yeah.
And can I also just clarify, this is one of the challenge scenarios and not like the training scenario.
Yes,
I would say, okay, if it was a training scenario, then having the Scarab right itself in the middle of a training scenario would give people more of an opportunity to learn.
I see your point.
This is a challenge one.
It's a good point, but it is the challenge scenario. And the other thing actually that we haven't mentioned about is the self-writing, which is a lot of the changes in the SRV's behavior that Blackmaze has described. You could almost put down to being an accident of the way maybe they've changed the planetary tech. So there was a part of me that almost thought, oh, this is an accident, and as soon as Frontier spot it, they'll revert it. It wasn't a deliberate attempt to. I sort of gave them that much benefit of the doubt until I then noticed the self-writing behavior, which is. If any of you have kind of been on group meets, Distant Worlds 2 or things, and when you're all sitting around in your SRVs and you're waiting for a meetup or a mass jump or something, people will frequently lark about in the SRV, and people tend to you can sort of rock it back onto its back, and it sits pointing up into the sky. I think some people call that a kind of...
We've got the cranky crab.
The praying pose or the sort of worship pose, You can't do that currently in the Odyssey SRV. If you tilt the SRV onto its back and leave it there, it will just pop itself back upright again. It's not possible to do those kind of poses in the Odyssey SRV. And that's clearly a deliberate change. When you see the video of that, that is unmistakably a deliberate change, which is more worrying to me.
Shan, last point.
Yeah, a quick question to Alec and to Black. So, in the new scenario, is your SRV still stopped dead by running into a pebble?
It's weirder. So in Horizons, it makes sense in most cases. Obviously, give or take a weird physics collision here or there. In Odyssey, it is very strange. Some rocks you drive through altogether and you're like, what just happened? And then there's other rocks where you hit it and you do come to a dead stop, even though if this was Horizons, you would have been able to drive over it. So it's very strange. And part of me still thinks it's just like this weird development thing. Yes, there will have been work on it, and I can't imagine them making this the Scarab. But I've had days now of like panic initially, but it's really Arthur's comment, CM Arthur, that kind of put my mind at ease.
Yeah, it's encouraging. And I mean, when I first found out about this, I've actually been in a PM with Bruce as well, and that they are looking into it. It has clearly, sort of raised discussions at Frontier, and they've had meetings and talked about it. So we just have to wait and see what the outcome is.
Alec, what was the thing you said you were going to do if this stays? I want this on record, on radio.
I can't remember what you I don't know.
Something about letterboxes.
Oh God, no! I don't think I should say that.
Come on, Alec!
I thought Alec said he was going to streak around the main hall of Lakeside naked if this went through.
I'll say it.
I was very upset. I was very upset.
So what Alex said is, if this happens, he is going to find the guy that changed the code and piss in his letterbox.
Lave Radio does not endorse.
Does not condone pissing through letterbox.
See, mindless terrorist.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I was so upset.
My goodness.
I share Alex's feelings 100%.
Are you allowed to send urine in the post?
Oh no, I was going to do it in person.
Can I just point out?
You better hope his letterbox isn't one of those spring-loaded ones.
FDev, can I just, if anybody from FDev is listening to this, this is Alec, Mr. Nice. I wouldn't say boo to a goose. Turner here. You've turned him into a rage monster.
Yeah, rage quitting and pissing through letterboxes.
I'll be honest. I said to Alec when he started showing these symptoms, I said, Alec, I have never seen you like this before. A part of me, it warms my heart to see how much it means to you, and I feel exactly the same. And for me, especially, it does me a lot of good seeing that other people are as upset about it as I am, because when there is something in a game and they change it and no one cares, and you're like, but in this case, I really think we banded together with pitchforks, and yeah, if they did intend to change this, I think we have a foot in the door to stop it. We were quick enough, early enough.
Okay, well we're gonna move on. So I advise that you two just take a nice deep cleansing breath as we discuss.
I'm so mad I could punch an anaconda to death.
Good segue, because I thought this was an April Fool's joke, to be honest. I thought this is the Frontier April Fool's joke until basically I saw the video. We have to point out, though, that it did take the person 10 minutes to punch an anaconda to death. But
so how long should it take then? If it took like 12 minutes, would that have been all right?
No, it shouldn't be all right at all, in my opinion. But just to bring everybody up to date, in the same SRV handling tutorial, you can call down or recall your ship, and up pops an anaconda. So I'm not going to show who the commander is who did this, because it's been removed from YouTube. You try and click on the link that we've got, it says it doesn't exist anymore. But they spent... They discovered that if they punch the landing gear of the Anaconda using the melee attack in their little person, it took a little bit of hull percentage off. So he then spent the next 10 minutes punching various bits of the anaconda until it exploded. Now, obviously, we tried blowing up our adder last week using rocket launchers, and we never were able to. But I think this punching an anaconda to death is the very thing we were all completely and utterly scared of happening. Who'd like to start with this one? Oh, surprise, surprise, Shan.
I mean, this is clearly a bug. I mean, I'm gonna say it's clearly a bug. However, it does demonstrate how completely and utterly retard factor 9 having a player being able to damage ships with handheld weapons actually is. You know, yes, I know it's a bug and stuff, but you know, we're not Dragon Balls and have the might. Yeah, it's just I couldn't believe that they. And yes, we had to go at the adder last week, but I think the reason why we didn't do that was because we weren't thinking stupid enough, which is quite rare for us. But
Yeah, I must admit. Yeah, we should have all gone up and punched the adder instead. But to be honest, now that Higher Frontier have been made aware of it, I think they're going to be doing some action on it. But you can guarantee on first day of release there'll be a lot of people punching the punching the anaconda, which is not a euphemism. Ben, calm down.
you set Ben off now. That's it. You no more.
No wonder he's gone quiet. He's
Where's Ben? Oh, he's in the back punching his anaconda.
I'm looking and I've managed to get my SRV to actually stay upside down.
Well done.
There's a new contest for you, Alex. You can you can spend the next 37 hours trying to have a contest to see who can turtle their SRV the quickest. There you go. No longer will it be about skill, about racing across a planetary surface. It's about how quickly you can turtle your SRV. There we go. New reason for you to play, Alex.
You know what they've done? Frontier have done a stealth fix to make us look like fools tonight.
Well, no, because I still had very, very sticky feet.
Good.
But I've managed to get my SRV upside down, and there's now, you know, like that little picture of a beetle on its back with its legs going. Yeah, I'm now looking like that basically.
Yeah, so if you ask anybody who doesn't understand what an upside down scarabat is, then we all know they're a replicant, and you can put two in the chest and one in the head. So yes, right. Well, now that seems to be. I mean, to be honest, looking at this for the few of the issues, it's not anywhere near as bad as it could have been. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I'm not that worried about the Apex stuff because I know that's going to change once we get out of this system. But we do have one final thing that Shan would like to discuss. Brace yourselves, folks. They have announced that what will be coming in Odyssey will be further ranks above Elite. Now, they haven't gone into any detail about this, but they have said that Elite will no longer be the top rank. There'll be other ranks as well. So, Shan, this is your speciality.
I would like to say a congratulations to every single player in the game, and congratulations on your demotion. This is the most completely. I mean, I'm going to be polite and not swear, but inwardly I am. A rank a plus elite in combat craps all over 30 years of game lore, numerous stories, and it's just so indescribably lazy, bad, utterly retarded, and it's beneath my contempt they've actually done this. There are way, way better ways of providing a player with progression. No, I'm still here. I'm still ranting. Why have you cut me out?
I don't know. To me, you seem to be cutting out.
That's probably because it was the swear filter. Where had I got up to? Yes, I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, the game is called Elite for a reason. It's not it's not called a bit better than elite, is it? It's called elite. It's the whole name of the game, for goodness sake. And if you put in a rank that's above elite, then why not call it elite plus or elite double plus or super elite or something? I just
Which
don't.
it has been called in the past.
You know what it
But
is, Shan? This one goes to 11.
don't start. I don't know. The thing is, though, I'm quite passionate about my elite lore and things like that. Even from the first Robert Holstock novel, there's a short story called The Silver Comet, which is in an anthology series, and the story is about this pilot with cerebral palsy and her strive to become the best pilot in the galaxy. If you have a rank above elite, it completely destroys the whole emotional impact of that frontier approved story. And yes, it's a story, etc. Now, from a gameplay mechanic, what happens when enough people get elite plus? Do they do elite level plus? Do they just keep on and on and on and on in a retcon? It has to stop somewhere. If you want to give players a rank or a meaning or a way they think is meaningful progression, you make it so there's a couple of factions in game where you have to be elite to join, and then you rank up in those factions. You don't put in a rank that destroys 30 years worth of passion and gameplay and stories and imagination into the game. No.
Right, there we go. Psychit, do you want to join in?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I could not agree less with you. I absolutely could not agree less. I've spoken because I knew that we were going to come up and we were going to talk about this. I've spoken to a lot of people. I have spoken to a lot of my community about how they feel about other further elite ranks, elite plus, whatever they're going to call it, and no one in sort of my immediate community or the people I play with the most have said that they have any problem with it. That's not to nullify the fact that you have a problem with it. That's absolutely fine. However, there's no, when you're saying that there's stuff in the lore that has cemented elite as being the biggest thing, they add things to the lore all the time when they make changes. There's lore for CQC, for God's sake.
Yes,
So
but
there's
elite
no.
is elite. It's the one constant. Okay, if you want to compromise, I can exploration elite. Yeah, fine, do your elite plus for that. Trade elite, yes, do your elite plus for that. But elite combat is unique. It's what the game was named after, and you can't get any deeper than that. And I'm not going to call it Odyssey anymore. It's elite retcon.
Okay.
But with the best will in the world, there are people who will likely appreciate having something to work on after hitting an elite rank, having something else to work
Yes,
on.
and let them join a player fact. Let them join one of these. I don't know, call it the Dark Wheel, and
Why?
or the club, because then
Why?
it's
I don't want to work for
consistent.
them. I'm quite happy to rank up further through elite. What's wrong with getting like an extra? Once I've hit elite, I've hit triple
Because
elite
it's
on my main
shit.
account.
Because it's shit and it's lazy, and there are better ways of doing it. Sorry,
Well, I
Okay,
don't.
really
okay,
passionate about this.
Your
okay,
suggest-
okay, okay, okay. Let's calm it down just for a second, because Ben would like to talk.
I've got this crazy idea that right, Colin. What's your rank in? You do karate, and what's your belt in karate?
Well, I'm a brown white, which is a second Kai. However, I'm 2 ranks off a black belt. Now,
So if
I
you're a
know where
black
you're going
belt,
with this.
right?
Yes.
What happens after you're a black belt? Do can you advance beyond that? And does that diminish the fact that you're a black belt?
No. What happens when you reach black belt? You are a first Dan black belt. There's then another 3-year training course to become a second Dan black belt, and so on until you get to 10th Dan, where you revert back to the lowest rank in some forms of karate, and at that point you've gone through the whole circle. Yes, I see what you're going at. So what you'd like is a kind of Dan version of Elite.
The equivalent of that, yeah. And frankly,
I'd
I
be
would
down for
make
that.
it an exponential trending towards infinity thing, so that you can never run out of ranks. You know, there's always one more kill to get.
Yeah, Alec, do you want to join in with this?
I was only going to suggest, I don't know if you want to do a round table, but I mean, I agree with Shan, basically. I mean, elite, it means the best. I mean, it's as simple as that. Elite means the best. It's what the as Shan says, it's
Are
what
you
the
in
game's always been
the
called. It means the
elite
best.
rank 1 or something? Elite first dan or whatever.
Doesn't need complicating. It just means the best. It's as simple as that.
Right, Blackmaze, would you like to join in this wonderful discussion?
I'll be careful with what I'm about to say. No, I agree with Chan and with what Alec is saying as well. I'll mention first that I hadn't given it any thought prior, so it doesn't mean that much to me personally, but I do get it, and I agree. In Elite Dangerous, the highest rank ideally is elite, and then if you want to, it's not like another MMO where you have level 60 and then you make it level 90. It's different. I get the lore behind it and all that, and I would then suggest and prefer adding additional ranks, so I still always have something to go and work towards.
Yeah. Okay. Now, it should be pointed out there is precedence for this. There is an additional rank of Archangel in some of the old games that you could actually achieve, which was supposed to be above Elite. And I know that the Arc version of Elite didn't have. It had extra ranks in there because it went deadly, very deadly, and then Elite. But Elite was still the top rank. Shan.
Archangel was a title you got for completing a mission. It wasn't above elite in terms of ranking. It was just an alternate, like, you did this mission, you are really brave and really special. So it wasn't above
So you
elite.
could be an Elite Archangel. Because I thought it actually replaced the combat rank.
It did, but in the story of the game, it was you did this mission, and that was a title bestowed on you by the Pilots Federation or whoever did the mission. But it
But it
wasn't
replaced
actually above elite. No, it wasn't actually above elite.
But it replaced the pilot rank.
I think it did because they didn't have a separate field in the game to display it. But I mean, Drew Wagar actually mentioned it.
Anyway, so okay, Psychic.
I have completely lost my train of thought with that. Sorry, it loses me. So that was it. We haven't had it confirmed what the names are or anything, have we? Of the elite plus rank.
They have
So
just said
it could literally be like elite with a star, or there was like an extra star next to it, like some kind of prestige.
Yeah.
So elite would still be the best.
Which is very similar to the Karate Dan idea. So
Yeah.
you get a star after your elite, so your elite star instead of just. But if you're not less than elite, you're still elite.
Exactly.
So if it's funny that because everybody, going back to the karate comparison, if you say that you're a second dan black belt, people don't hear the word second dan. If you're a layman, they just hear the word black belt, the words black belt, and think, "Oh, he's a bit tough." Then it's only when you're actually involved in this do you suddenly realize, "Oh, second dan black belt. Well, I'll be definitely having trouble dealing with you in a tournament then." No, Shan, we're using it as a comparison. We're not saying it's the same thing.
But I'm coming at it from a lore and an internal game perspective. As a mechanic, it's still incredibly lazy. I mean, you can say what you like, but it's still incredibly lazy to do that. And I think there are better ways to have a player progress or demonstrate progression than just keep adding pluses or what asterisks is on the name in the game that don't wreck the consistency. There are just better ways of doing it.
Right. Well, I think I think we've certainly hit an end point for this one. We will. I mean, my personal preference is that, especially with the other two ranks, such as trade and exploration, I'd prefer that the mining was split out and the the passenger section was split out the appropriate ranks, because to tell you the truth, that means you could get a elite rank in exploration, but not do any exploring. And same for mining. Well, kind of. You're kind of selling the stuff at the end, but you're not doing trading, are you? I prefer them to split those ranks out.
So since we, I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump in again, but we wanted to give a suggestion of each thing, and there's some things in chat like give us an alternative. Well, I mean, we took the example of Archangel. The reason why I like the Archangel mechanic is because it's earned in game, and it's not actually a product of buying it through arcs. I mean, let's say you do a certain number of missions, or you're a certain faction, or you progress in a challenge, or whatever you want to call it through gameplay, you earn a different badge on your flight suit. For example, there are ways you can do. A player can progress without having just to keep adding titles on that actually involve something. So, yeah, I mean, also I think there's a slight mental or mind adjustment in the way that people maybe think of games, because, and it's a very common thing in, as you mentioned, in MMOs, where you hit level 60 and then expansion comes out and then you're level 70, then you're level
65.
80,
Yeah.
and that. But that's actually that's a that's almost a false measure. That's not what I believe Elite is about. Elite is about, in quotes, blazing your own trail. It's the cardboard box. It's finding other things to do other than just trade or explore and whatnot. So I would like to see a method of demonstrating your prowess in other parts of the game.
I have got a sneaking suspicion that if they hear this rant, what they're just going to do is they're going to re-establish Very Deadly and then move Elite up to the next rank.
Well, I mean, that would create a lot of salt, as you mentioned Discord. But then
Really? I think we've got a lot of salt happening right now.
Well, the thing is, though, but the thing is, you're going to get salt anyway because every player's got demoted a rank.
Oh, right. Okay, then. I think it's time that we take a little break from this. It will obviously come back to it when we've got more details.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. The community corner. Well, there's been a lot of lovely community stuff that's been happening. The first thing that we have to mention is Elite is featured in a documentary on Netflix at the moment called Not a Game. Now, this, of course, features Commander Michael and his relationship with Elite Dangerous in his last few days, which we've gone over quite a few times here. We've got a link in the show notes. Now, if you are not aware of what happened to Commander Michael Hollyland, then I thoroughly recommend that you go and watch this video. I will advise that you get it basically will certainly bring a lump to the back of your throat. It's a very moving story. I didn't. Yes, I think Ben was personally involved in some of the stuff that happened during the episode. So, yeah. Ben, is there anything you'd like to say?
Other than I've not actually been able to watch it yet. I know Shan has. I'm not in a place where I think I can watch it just now.
Yeah, quite understandable. Shan?
Yeah, I completely understand why Ben hasn't watched it yet and completely respect that. If you do watch it, bring some tissues, and it's incredibly moving and incredibly well done, and also incredibly respectful as well to everyone involved. And to be honest, I went straight to that particular point of the documentary. I didn't see the entire documentary. But yeah, it's very highly recommended. But as I say, I can understand why people who are more involved in it than I was are having pause on it. But yeah, it really is well worth a watch.
Yeah, I do believe there's also an entire episode on BBC Sounds which covers this exact same story. I was just trying to look it up. I can't seem to find it. Oh yeah, this is the "This Game Changed My Life" podcast, and you will find Michael's story also mentioned there. Um, and on a more lighter note, if you do need some amusing, that's the sort of lighter part of this. Someone has gone and basically compared Drew Wagar's various facial expressions during the. I think Drew's actually posted it himself, which is always good for a laugh. Anyway, point two: the Sagittarius Eye has an April's Fool's video. Who fell for this one?
I, I did
hope
watch it.
nobody. I watched it and I loved it. I hope no one.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was very good. I don't know if it really counts as an April Fool because there wasn't really much of a fool as such. It was just a very funny sort of mock documentary about the elevators in Odyssey. But highly recommended.
Excellent. In other news, Hawks Gaming, who has been doing a lot of exposés lately, has now exposed the dark underbelly of Elite Dangerous of buying Elite Dangerous credits. I must admit, this is quite a weird one because up till now, this is the first I've heard about people actually wanting to buy credits because credits has been reasonably easy to come by when you think about it.
I pay for all my Elite credits.
But this is exactly what I think Shan was saying. You know, as soon as we got fleet carriers, we'd get this kind of thing, and lo and behold, we do.
Yeah, although how much is a billion credits in real money?
I have
They
no
said
idea.
$10?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently, the market has crashed ever since. Well, he's claiming that the market has crashed since he released the how to make money AFK farming video as well, or how since that's been brought to life. Like,
I guess though, in-game, not necessarily money, but in-game rewards for real money has been a thing and will always be a thing. It
you've
isn't.
always been able to. Sorry, Chad.
No, I was just thinking if it wasn't credits, it would. And we talked about ranks and stuff like that because people pay to power level the characters in games, don't they?
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know, I'm sure. Although I can't prove it, but I'm sure there are people in Elite who paid people to power level their account, for example.
I'm sure you can go onto websites and say, I want to buy a triple elite with fleet carrier and 10 billion credits in the bank, and take my money, give me that account, please. Yeah, I'm sure that kind of thing exists as well. And obviously, before we had fleet carriers, you could go and get somebody to sell you a fully engineered Anaconda account or something like that.
Mm.
Right. Punch-proof Anaconda.
Punch-proof Anaconda.
You'll never get that.
Right. Well, moving on to something far more light-hearted. Now,
Psychic had something. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Psychic.
Right.
Your turn.
It's all right. I won't hold it against you this time.
Oh, right, fine.
Why? I don't get it.
Exactly.
I don't. What's the point? But it's like, let me pay someone to play a game for me. It's so. I've had people come into my chat and say, "Oh, it's helping somebody power level through things," and I'm just like, "Elite's not that game. Please don't make Elite that game. Go and power level them in WoW or Guild Wars or something that I don't give a shit about." But
I think the rationale goes something like this: if I'm paid, I don't know, if I'm paid £10 an hour, and if it takes me 6 hours to get something that I want to do, then it's cheaper for me to pay 10 quid for it than it is to spend the 6 hours doing it myself. And I know it's a twisted logic in that, but there is a logic people use, the power level stuff, is I can earn more money real money by doing something else and getting what I want than I can paying someone else to do it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's the only
Really,
rationale I can think of.
it's removing you from a huge portion of the gameplay that is Elite Dangerous. We all know how much of a grind Elite is. With like all Elite is one grind to the next, with the exception of the occasional buckyball race or planet navigation or all of the things that are like player driven stuff. It feels, it's really disappointing to me to see people using the methods of just to try and paying someone else to play a game for them. It just bothers me, just in general with all games.
Yeah, it's totally. I mean, but again, I'm playing a bit devil's advocate here to hopefully.
Oh no, I
get
totally
some
appreciate
thinking. I mean, for example, I like a nice, neat garden. I like a well-cut lawn with prune flower. I like a nice looking garden. However, I personally hate gardening. So therefore, I will pay a gardener to get my garden looking neat so I can enjoy it. Is that yes, it's a complete sad and whatever thing for computer games, but is that not almost the same thing?
No, it's not the same
No.
thing at all.
No, half the
No,
thing
not at
about
all.
Elite is the journey, and
Mhm.
if you decide to
Well,
skip
I don't care
that journey,
about I don't care about how many times the guy goes up and down with a lawnmower. I just want a nice garden.
yeah, but that's the difference. The game is there for the journey to be enjoyed. You're there. The fact that you're going up and down there, cutting your grass, that's not enjoyment. It's something. It's a chore.
I do see what Shan's saying. If somebody
I
just
love cutting my
likes,
grass.
yeah,
Yeah.
if somebody just likes the fleet carrier, if somebody just wants to look at their fleet carrier but doesn't enjoy,
Picture of a
yeah,
fleet carrier for
I
free.
just
yeah,
don't get that because the whole point is to play the game.
yeah, yeah.
It's just-
I agree.
But that's
Anyway.
like saying the whole point of cutting the lawn, of having a nice, neat lawn, is to cut it.
Yeah, but the point of Elite playing a game is to enjoy playing the game as you're doing it, not you. I'm sorry, but I'm not a person who enjoys cutting the grass. But I do like having a nice lawn at the end. I do like working my way through pretend spaceships.
I'm completely with you, Colin. I'm being deliberately argumentative to kind of like demonstrate the thought process that I know some people have. And yeah, I mean, I don't like gold selling. Or whatever. It does completely think, well, what's the point? If you're going to pay someone else to play a game for you, then what was the point of you buying the game in the first place? And
Yeah.
I do completely agree with it. But what I want to say is, some people view it as a service than a again.
It should be playing the game in the first place if they wanted. Anyway, that's me just going to start grumbling. Anyway, onto something a little bit more light-hearted. Now, those of you who have been hiding under a rock with the Elite Dangerous world will know about, who haven't been hiding under a rock, will know that there is Peter the Sleeper. He is this unique, very tired person on most of the stations that we have discovered, and let's just say that Commander Tokuso, who also does our theme music, and the Burr Pit have got together with quite a few others and done a video called Peter the Sleeper, the Conga Line. Now, I know that we've had someone on the crew get involved in this, so psych it. What madness was this?
I didn't do it. I wasn't there.
You're in the credits, dear.
No, I'm in the credits as a patron.
Oh, thought you were in the conga.
No, I wasn't in the conga line. I was busy at 8 p.m. on Sunday, so I couldn't come and join it. I'd have loved to be there.
I know certain community managers were in it.
Yeah.
Indeed, Arthur was in it.
Well, for those of you, it can only be seen to be believed, so we'll put a link in the show notes. However, I must admit that putting your patrons on the list there, we needed to know the people who were daft enough to do this.
I think she's in it, but
I'm not. I'm absolutely not.
Where's your witnesses that said you weren't? That you were there? That you weren't
He's
there?
in chat, Shan. My
my husband is in chat.
Yeah, but in law, your husband can't incriminate you. So who else have you got as a witness?
I mean, we're in lockdown at the moment, Shan. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's quite difficult to get other witnesses.
Why are you in France? Sorry.
Right. Okay. Let's leave that alone. Now, Commander Blackmaze, you are here to explain something to us, educate us about Rebuy Unlimited.
Oh, this is exciting. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. So, Rebuy Unlimited. I'm not really sure where to start. I have a YouTube channel. Blackmaze is my YouTube channel, and I do videos on all sorts of things. I'm not like a content creator. I just upload things whenever I feel like it. I organized a few races with Elite, and then I usually make a video. So I like making videos, basically. And I've tried to do... who here has heard of Red versus Blue?
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
Right. So... I love Red versus Blue, and I love like web series like that. And I've always wanted to do something like that. And I haven't done it in Elite. I've always toyed with the idea of doing it in Elite, but I never have, because Elite can be very impersonal. You know, you only have a spaceship. Then later on, we got the Scarab. But if you want to film this from like a Red versus Blue kind of perspective, you're pretty limited as to how you can make things funny. At least I thought. So I've tried it in the past, and I've done a series called Retrograde, only 2 episodes, very amateuristic, didn't really get anywhere. I've done a little short story on my own, but with Elite, and that's kind of where it ended. But now we're getting Odyssey, and we're getting on foot. We're getting characters, so many opportunities to do more stuff that is closer to a comical or a comedic Red versus Blue sort of styled or themed episode web series. So it had to happen. And I talked to so many different people who were all like, yeah, you should do it. Let's do it. And there were so many people that were interested in joining as well, because obviously for these sort of things, you need voice actors and in-game actors. And Alec Turner is on it, right, Alec? I don't know if you want to add anything.
For better or worse. No, for better or worse. You sucked me in. And, actually, I didn't say much persuading. It sounded brilliant.
Alec has been amazing. We, over the past, what should I say, 3 months, we've been making plans. Yeah. And then we plan to do one pilot, a pre-Odyssey pilot, which was very much a practice session for us to get together and learn this, because it's new for all of us. The voice acting, the in-game acting, all of it is new. So we did a pilot episode, and it came out so well, at least I think so, that we decided to share it. And it's on, we made a YouTube channel called Rebuy Unlimited. So for anybody listening that is interested in something like this, go and check out the pilot. Just Google Rebuy Unlimited on YouTube, and you'll find it. It's one pilot episode. It's about 10 minutes, slightly under 10 minutes. And it's a lot of fun. Rebuy Unlimited, by the way, is the company that our characters are working for. And to no surprise, Rebuy Unlimited is a galactic insurance company.
Lovely.
/rant.
Okay, Chris, could we put the video into the feed?
I want all hands on deck. Sick!
I have a hair appointment at 4. Bradley, did you empty the waste bins like I told you last night?
My piloting is excellent. Thank you very much. I would be more than happy to take over landing controls for you, Miss Venador.
Fine!
I'm detecting no targets beside ourselves on sensors, Commander Hagen. Well, there's something. What the hell is that?
Hee-haw! This is tight. Come on, geezer. Hey, hold up, I'm waiting on shields. Oh, bagels. Oh, don't worry, honey. Well. Just who do we have snooping around here? You son of a bitch.
Hey there, team.
And welcome back. We'll also put a link into the for that video in the show notes. So if nobody saw that, then I'm quite sure you'll be able to catch up. Now, this leaves just the community question. Now, what we want to ask is basically the community question for you for this week is: do you actually want ranks above Elite, such as Elite Plus or Archangel, or would you prefer the ranks to be spread out more, effectively giving you a demotion down to Deadly, etc.?
Yes, just for Noishan.
Or no, just put or an alternative method, and if so, what? Because we want people to think about what would they replace the proposed mechanic with, if at all. So I think that's a better one
So there
than
you
telling
go.
them another answer.
This is to help Shan with his therapy. Any donations would be appreciated to help with his therapist, mostly for the therapist to pay for her therapist after meeting Shan. But
that's really mean. I've been completely nice today.
Relative. Okay. Let's do the weekly shoutouts. So our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you want the audio, just go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. By the way, as a side note, did anybody think they missed a trick by having an arcade machine somewhere in the bar that could take you to CQC?
Yes.
Well, like a VR machine.
Indeed.
Yep.
Yes.
Right, we'll also give shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. That is Loose Screws, Elite Week, Flight Assist. For the Spanish speakers, there's Elite Cast, there's the Canon podcast, the Fatherhood podcast, Squeaking Fuel, System Chat, the Guard Frequency, and Alograb AM. God, this list is getting exhausting. For those of you who want a literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, please subscribe to the Data Slate podcast created by Station Commander Alan Stroud. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd like to thank everyone who's chipped in on the Twitch chat and the other in-game commanders. Which have you had anybody buzz you, Ben, or has it just been you?
I've seen a couple of people, but nobody sort of buzzed me, as it were.
Oh, no one's buzzed Ben. How disappointing. We also have to say special thanks to Commander Tokuso, who created the music for the introduction for the show. So, actually, I take that back, Sean. I think we'll just have to get you a bigger blood pressure tablets.
I've got enough of those, thank you.
Yeah. Right. So, on that note, that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at laveradio, or you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders come to hang out and chat, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 British Summer Time and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Shan, thanks to Ben, thanks to Sidekit. All special thanks, of course, go to Commander Alec Turner and Commander Blackmaze for joining us this week. And of course, incredible special thanks goes to the Tech Gibbon Chris Mark for Newell Turner. So that's it for this final episode. Until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word.
going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Forget the Uranus talk. This is the new outro in action.
You've been dying for something to replace your Uranus.
According to scientists, Uranus is full of methane gas.
That sounds like every climate summit for the last 10 years, doesn't it? Brilliant.
I think you're right, though, Colin.
What have you done with Shan, and when can we have him back? I don't know. I'm quite attached to this one, to be honest.
I think that is the truest thing I've heard you say.
And now, Shan.
Oh, okay. I'll start with the positives.
Yeah, that butt clenching really was awesome.
Right. Interesting. Personally, for me, I was just actually glad to see it going to be burnt in my brain forever.
Good stuff.
Galnet News Digest, 6th of April 3307. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news, the NMLA, a lost cause.
Bucky cabs get you there. First.
Lunging mania hits Adityan.
The NMLA, a lost cause. Like Emperor's Dawn before it, the less-than-democratic pro-Republican Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army looks set to lose everything, with a significant chance that their battle in the Madrid system won't even reach the first tier of achievement, while Imperial forces make relatively good progress. The NMLA may have lost the sympathy of those normally hostile to the Imperial status quo, when they attacked Federal and Alliance stations, and also the non-aligned Lave station, in an ill-considered plot to drive the radio station off air. The Neo-Marlinist Order of Madrid has offered a uniquely augmented Class 2 Rating B increased caustic damage and capacity enzyme missile rack to the top 10% of participants, but with their effort falling far short of the minimum success criterion, that promise is thrown into doubt, and the missile rack they were offering may never be seen. The Imperial offer of a fully engineered Class 2 Rating B long-range and high-capacity railgun with feedback cascade will go to the top 75% of participants, and there's still time to pile in and earn yourself one in combat zones all over Madrid. Will Theta 7 survive the slaughter? Will the NMLA regroup and repeat the atrocities of former months? Or has Patreus done the dirty work of the Emperor, and is the Empire set for another 1,000 years of dominion? We expect further updates on Thursday.
Bucky cabs get you there first. After numerous complaints about the slow transit times from the Apex Interstellar Taxi Company, the Buckyball racers have set up a rival company, Bucky Cabs, who offer to get you from any base in the system to Hopkins City in 4 minutes or less, guaranteed or your money back. Apex claims to have the fastest transit times in the galaxy, but with a transit time of 13 minutes and 40 seconds from Huygens near the C star and Hopkins City near the A star, this claim to be the fastest is simply not borne out by the evidence, as Commander Alec Turner of the Buckyballers points out. The mistake Apex is making is to assume that the fastest transit between 2 points in a system is to travel in a straight line. Even allowing for gravity wells, this is simply not true. The fastest route is to jump out to another star system and to jump back in to Adityan, much closer to Hopkins City. Commander Turner makes the quite reasonable point that no one would dream of spending an hour and a half flying away from Hutton Orbital. And that's effectively what Apex Interstellar, or Apex Intersmeller, as Commander Turner calls them, is doing. So, unless you want nearly 14 minutes of taxi driver banter, you're better inside a Bucky Cabs ride.
Lunging mania hits Adityan. Commanders struck dumb by the excitement of walking around and lacking the ability of expressing themselves in any other way in a system where the system chat is scrolling at a rate of more than 30 messages per second, have taken to prancing around like Cossack dancers to communicate. With jumping forbidden in social zones, the only means of expression available are looking up, looking down, turning left, turning right, sidling sideways, walking forwards and back, running and crouching. Of this complex set of visual phonemes, the basic building blocks of language, the hieroglyph for crouching down has become universally accepted as the greeting. When combined with a sidling sideways motion, commanders are able to perform simple breakdance moves. Other options available to commanders are to perform inept recreations of river dance, in which not only the arms remain limp by the dancer's side, but the legs are equally unmoving, and to stare pointedly at the ceiling when the lack of an interesting breakdance from the other commanders in the conversation becomes too much to bear. Commanders in Adityan dream of the day when they'll be able to move their arms, when commanders within 5 metres will be able to hear each other speaking, and when the 07 salute becomes real. Until then, be ready to lunge.
And that's this week's Galnet News.
Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to. Sidling sideways, sidling slide, sliding,